Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Norway for the first time in a little while actually, and it's been a while since you've seen me review a beer from this brewery, although I have filmed another one actually before this, but this was yet another one of the beers that we got through the small partiers in Smoothness here in Sweden on the 21st of September 2018. So for this one we're going to return to Lervig Aktiebryggeri from Stavanger, like I said, and we're having a taste of the Perler for Svin today. So literally that name translates into English as Perils for Pigs. It's an IPA, this one, a New England type IPA coming in at 6.3%. The hops in this one are Azaka, Mosaic and Simcoe, so it should be a really nice one this, and the artwork, as you can see, is a little bit different compared to some of the other Lervig Aktiebryggeri beers that I've had before. But my previous experiences with this brewery have been pretty good, so I'm looking forward to trying another IPA from them. It's been ages, I think, since I've tried one of their IPAs, so certainly looking forward to this one, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. I do wish that we got a few more Norwegian beers down here in Sweden, because you know it is quite close, but the monopolies that they have, both the Vino monopoly that they have up in Norway and the Systembolaget that we have here in Sweden, it does make it's really not as easy as you would think to get a hold of your neighbouring countries' beers. But I guess the same can be said in America with all these different state laws and stuff like that. But certainly looking forward to this, like I said, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Lervig Aktiebryggeri before. I will add a couple more in the near future. I will make an effort to get more of their beers. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beers based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Norwegian beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to just whenever I can, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Lervig Aktiebryggeri then. So as I mentioned to you earlier, Lervig Aktiebryggeri are based in Stavanger in southwestern Norway, which is the main oil city up there. But Lervig Aktiebryggeri was founded back in 2003 after the Toa brewery was sold to Carlsberg and the subsequent production was moved to Oslo. And for a while their beers were produced at the Mack Brewery in Tromsø, but the production was moved to Hillevåg in Stavanger back in 2005. But the current head brewer for the brewery is Mike Murphy, and he's been there since 2010. Prior to this, the brewery were making many light beers, light sort of lager beers and things like that, but Mike moved them more towards making the American style beers, and he played quite an important role in the Danish craft beer revolution. He collaborated with a lot of the kind of quite famous brewers, I guess you could say, Mikael and Jeppe Bjergso, Sean Hill of course as well, and also Andreas Kiesmeyer too. But he also worked for Birra del Borgo in Italy for a little while before he went to Denmark. And he also owns 5% of the brewery shares from what I understand too. But the main owner of the brewery is Christopher Stensrud, who owns 67% of the shares, and he's been doing some really interesting stuff for the brewery. The brewery now exports over 20% of all the exported beer from Norway, so they really are probably one of the better known Norwegian craft breweries these days. Of course it all started up with Kjetil Jikjøen in Norway when he was doing the Nøgne Ø stuff. That was the first big craft brewery there, but of course that was sold to one of the other ones, and he now owns the one of the little breweries, the craft breweries in Crete, the Solo beer in Crete. The name didn't quite come to me, but Lervig Aktiebryggeri, as I say, are probably the best known of the Norwegian craft breweries these days. They definitely do some really interesting stuff. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about this brewery. They export 20% of all the beer exported from Norway, which is really quite impressive. So yeah, definitely one of the breweries that you want to check out, and they are very experimental still, despite having a slightly kind of bigger volume and things like that. But yeah, if you want to learn a little bit more about Lervig, check out the brewery website in the description below. They are quite a prolific brewery, so you can follow them on Facebook and keep up to date with all the different things that they're going out. I guess in Norway they have the same situation where it's like the brewery produces a lot of beers, but it's probably hard for the actual Norwegians to get a hold of them. I know that's the case with Brewski and Breakeriet and things like that here in Sweden, because there's such difficult rules to actually get certain beers sold in Systembolaget and Vino Monopoly and things like that. But yeah, so I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on the can here before we open up the beer. There you can see it, nicely presented one this. As I say, this is a little bit different from some of the other Lervig cans that I've seen before. There's a little bit of the information on the back there. It says, a holy offering of Azacca, Mosaic and Simcoe hops give this IPA a forbidden fruit juiciness. Enjoy your pearls. So yeah, as I say, the name Perler for Svin literally means pearls for pigs, as I say. Unless it's some sort of Norwegian saying or something like that. But there you can see, there's the Lervig symbol on the back, the little star there with the brackets. And yeah, nicely presented. 6.3% New England type IPA, this one. Azacca, Mosaic and Simcoe, so it should be really nice. Without further ado then, let's get it out and have a taste of this beer. I thought I was going to snap the ring pull off there and not be able to get this. Nightmare. But yeah, let's get it out and we'll get it into the glass. And you really can smell some of the fruity notes from this beer too. It smells really nice. There we go. Look at that. You know, I have been complaining in some of these videos recently that I prefer the West Coast IPAs to the, you know, I've really been missing the West Coast IPAs compared to the New England ones. But, you know, you can still enjoy all of them. I'm just being moany a little bit in my videos sometimes, I guess. But looking at this beer, if I hold it up to the light, it's a nice, bright, orangey colour, that one. If you put your finger next to it, I'd say it's a solid finger of a frothy white head. It's a little bit more bumpy than some of the ones I've come across. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones heading up towards the bottom of the head. If I put my fingers behind it, you can see it is pretty opaque, but it's not the most opaque beer that I've come across, right enough. But yeah, it looks really nice, pretty much as you would expect for a New England IPA. Kind of mid-orange colour, this one I would say is probably the best descriptor for that. Not blood orange or anything like that, just a nice mid-orange, but a little bit of a yellowy note to it as well, but it looks very, very nice. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then with this one and just see how we get on. When you open this up, you do get a good, nice kind of sharp orangey note out of it. Probably mandarins, I would say, when it's Azacca that's involved. But yeah, that smells really nice. I mean, straight away, you get the passion fruit from the Simcoe. If you take it in a bit more deeply, you can get like apricots and things like that out of this one too. Yeah, definitely a little bit of apricot. It really reminds me of these little Munch Bunch yogurts that my mum used to put in my lunchbox when I was at primary school. Really reminds me of that. But yeah, lovely orangey notes to this one. It's got a little bit of the sharper mandarin-y orange, but at the same time you've got the slightly juicier tangerines. The more tangerine note comes from the Mosaic. But yeah, there's some other things going on in there. Mainly it's passion fruit and this mix of mandarin and tangerines, but as I say, you can pick up a little bit of apricot in there. I think there's a wee bit of a kind of pineapple-y note or something like that as well. And that'll be the Azacca. The Azacca gives you an interesting thing. The Simcoe is pretty much a straight up passion fruity sort of flavour. But as I say, there's a little bit of blueberry as well. The Mosaic gives you a kind of tangerine blueberry sort of note, I've always found. So you can pick up a little bit of the blueberries in there, the apricots, and a little bit of pineapple, but it's a really interesting aroma, that. Quite fruity and juicy. When you sugar it up a little bit more, you start to get more of the kind of malt base out of this beer. But yeah, it's got a sort of wheaty malt base. You can pick up a little bit of the oaty creaminess, and maybe there's just a little bit of, there's maybe just a little bit of a biscuity sweetness in there as well. So the malt base pretty much is nothing surprising. You wouldn't really expect anything more from the malt base than that. But yeah, the fruity quality to this one's really nice. If you've watched the channel before, you'll know that I love orangey IPAs and stuff, so this one I think is going to be right up my street. I am a big fan of the Simcoe hop as well. It's one of the more old school hops these days compared to the new whippersnappers on the block. But yeah, let's have a taste of this beer and see how we got on then. So this one is the Perler for Svin, basically Perros for pigs, 6.3% New England type IPA, Simcoe, Mosaic and Azacca in this one. Let's get stuck in. Slanja, skål. Yeah, it's a nice beer, that one. It's a really easy drinker, this. I mean, it's 6.3%. You can't really say this is a session IPA, because you know the session ones normally it's like 4 to 5% normally. So it's not a session IPA, but it's ridiculously drinkable. That's the first impression I have of this one. There's a little fly going around at the moment in my room. This is a bit annoying. What I will say, if you take a slightly bigger gulp of this one, the bitterness comes out a little bit more. By no means is this beer going to blow your head off in terms of IBUs. I'd say it probably is around the 30, maybe 40 mark at most in terms of its IBUs, but it's a lovely, easy drinking one, that. So let's start with the malt base then, as we always do. You can feel a little bit of that sort of pale malty character, that just blankets the middle of your tongue there. On top of that, there's maybe a little bit of a smoother wheat, that comes out a little bit more as you kind of move further into the aftertaste with this one. It does have a little bit of a wheaty smoothness to it, I would say, which is nice. But yeah, nice wheaty smoothness there. You can feel there's a little touch of an oaty creaminess there. You can feel there's a little bit of an almost sweetness from the oats around the middle of your palate, and there's a little bit of a biscuity sweetness to this one too. Yeah. The malt base in this one, it's very nice, it's very smooth, it's quite subtle, this beer, you know, it is, the way that the malt base is in this is to bring out the juiciness of the fruits, and I think it works very, very well. I like what this beer's going for. Back corners of the palate, you've got a little touch of earthiness there. As you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, you've got a nice little bit of floral aromaticity to this one. There's maybe a little touch of a piney resin in there, but not too much. It does have a little bit of that darker dankness on the front corners of the palate, a little bit of piney resin, like I said. Then around the very front curve of the tongue, you've got a lighter sort of grassy note, and of course this beer really comes alive when in that little oily bubble behind the front curve of your palate. That's where those nice fruity, juicy esters start to come out of the beer. Yeah, so with this one, the fruit base, it's got a nice passion fruit base to it. I think it's the Simcoe that's really forming the linchpin of this beer. On top of that, you get a little bit of you start to get the oranges, these kind of you get a little bit of the sharper mandarins at the start, but then it fades away, I think, to be a little bit more of the kind of juicy tangerine note, I would say. And as you go further into the aftertaste, there's a little bit more of that apricot-y note kind of coming out of the beer, and that mixes quite well with the passion fruit, I think. But apricot's coming out of it. Right on the tip of the tongue, there's a little bit of the blueberries as well, and maybe there's just a little tiny bit of pineapple or something like that in there too. But it's a really well mixed beer, this one. As I say, the passion fruit forms the base, oranges, the mandarins and the tangerines at the start. The tangerines come out a little bit later than the mandarins, and then further into the aftertaste, the apricots, a bit of pineapple, and right on the tip of the tongue, I think it's a little bit of blueberry that's coming out of this one. But it's really, the mixes of flavours in this beer are really nice, and I think the smoothness of the malt base, and that helps bring out the juicy side of the tangerines and the apricots and stuff in this beer. It's very well balanced. It's one of these IPAs that's ridiculously easy to drink. It's not doing anything surprising with the style, but it's one that I think is really just easy to drink. It's one of these ones that's meant to be nice and juicy and nice and smooth, and it pulls that off very, very well, in my opinion. So yeah, it does. I think it does have a little touch of a bitter kick to it. I think I'd maybe be tempted more to up my bet a little bit with this one, to say it's 40 IBUs. I think it's around the 40 mark, this one maybe. But in terms of the mouthfeel of this beer, mid-bodied, carbonation's quite smooth. It does have a little touch of an oily mouthfeel to it, but overall, like I say, it is quite a smooth mouthfeel. Nice little touch of hoppy bitterness, as I say. I reckon about 40 IBUs at most. Juicy fruity notes to this beer, which is good. The way the juicy fruity notes come out in this one is really nice, and it's quite a smooth malt base as well, like I was saying. But overall, it's a really nice beer, this one. It is, as I say, it's one of these ones where all the flavours fit together very well. It's not doing anything surprising with the style, but it's one of these beers, I think, that is really quite nicely done. If you like an orangey IPA, I think you're going to enjoy this one. If you like the Simcoe hop, if you like passion fruit, that also has a good presence to this one, but it's got a little bit of a fruity complexity, which is nice. So if you like a nice IPA that's got a bit of a fruity complexity to it, I would recommend it. If you like an orangey IPA, this one could be up your street as well, but if you like the nice passion fruit IPAs, this is one I think that you are going to really enjoy. So I do need to make sure I review a few more of these IPAs from Lervig Aktiebryggeri. Like I said, it's been ages since I've reviewed an IPA from these guys, but this one was really nice, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. So I will make sure to pick up some of the Lervig cans the next time I'm in Copenhagen, because they've got a lot of different things at Kiosk over there. So I'll keep that in mind. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. So this one was the Perler for Svin, a 6.3% New England IPA with Azaka, Mosaic, and Simcoe, from the Lervig Aktiebryggeri in Stavanger, Norway. A really nice, easy drinking IPA, one of the small partiers that we had here in Sweden on the 21st of September 2018. I would recommend you have a go at this one. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Lervig Aktiebryggeri. This one is really nice, and I do need to make sure I review a few more Lervig beers. You've got a nice Lervig and Evil Twin collaboration beer coming up, so watch out for that video. But this one was really nice, and I recommend you have a go. Until the next time, it's Slanges now, and I will catch you guys later. Skål!